Thank you so much for tuning in to Mom Jeans, trying to fit into motherhood.
Okay, welcome back to Mom Jeans, the podcast. We are your hosts. I am Lisa, a girl mom of 2 girls.
And I'm Danielle. I'm a stay-at-home mom of my awesome son and a military spouse. That was really bad. I'm sorry. I forgot what I was going to say. Boy mom.
Boy mom.
Yeah. Do you want me to redo it?
No, that's okay.
Okay.
I'll take this part out.
Okay.
So are there any updates going on with you in your life right now, Danielle?
Yeah, so I know a while back I talked about having a miscarriage, and I was very hopeful that we would get pregnant, soon after. We were doing the strips and all the things. And it just wasn't happening for us. There was even a day I was like, I know that I'm ovulating. We hit the mark, and it still just wasn't happening for us. So we have started our first medicated cycle since Weston. So we're very hopeful that the first round works. But I had to take letrozole for 5 days, and that just helps mature multiple eggs. So after 5 days of that, I did an ultrasound, and they saw five follicles that were maturing, and 2 that looked really well. One that was 20, I don't know if it's millimeters, I don't know what measurement they do, and the other one was 18 on the other side. So they gave me a trigger shot that forces ovulation, and then you just have timed sex after that, or in a few days after, and then you just wait. They also gave me progesterone. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but to take for 14 days because they said my uterine lining was thinner than they would like to see. And I will say that my periods have been a lot lighter recently. And also, when they said that, I'm like, oh, maybe that's why. I mean, you always wonder why, if you had a miscarriage, why did it happen? And part of me is like, well, maybe that's why I just didn't have a great place to embed, if that makes sense. So
totally.
Yeah, that's what we're going through now, and we're in the 2-week wait, so it's always not fun.
No, it feels like it takes forever. Days just drag by. What do you remind me? Did you have to do medicated with Weston?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
How many rounds did you do?
Just one. So we're hopeful. We're hopeful that it'll work this time too. So we'll see. Yeah. So they warned me of twins. I feel like they did that last time too, but they were like, you've got 2 really nice looking follicles, so we got to give you the twin talk. And I'm like, okay. But I'd be excited for twins, but I know my life would be crazy.
Oh my goodness. Right? Yeah. I always wished for twins before I got pregnant with Hannah. And I was like, and when I had Hannah, I was like, oh, I don't want twins. I don't want twins. And twins run on both sides of mine and Brandon's family. And I feel very lucky that didn't happen for us, only because it's just a lot. It's a lot of work. But
yeah. Twins run in our family too. His and my dad's a twin. He's a fraternal twin, so he has a twin sister.
Nice, interesting. My mom's a twin. Yeah, very cool. Well, that's we'll tune in for more updates. I'm excited to hear how it goes, and thinking about you and crossing my fingers and my toes and everything for you. I hope it works out.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, let's jump into this episode. I, of course, I got on Reddit and I was like, all right, I'm looking for a specific thing. And then I went down the wormhole of a lot of things I wasn't looking for. And it was like, holy moly, I need to focus because I don't have much time before the episode starts. But with the holidays coming up, I really wanted to look into some holiday threads, of how people handle certain situations and everything like that. So I found a initial, I don't remember. I'm going to work on figuring out if they're threads or posts, but somebody asked the question, how do you split time with families on holidays? And I liked this person's response. So I'm going to read this person's response, and then we'll talk about what our thoughts are after that. So, this couple that asked the question didn't have kids, and they were asking for, like, you know, what to do before kids, but then also when kids come into the picture. And this person's response was, first, once you have kids, you need to dedicate one day at Christmas for just your family, meaning you, your husband, and your children. Even if that's only an infant in the beginning, both of your families need to understand from the outset that you are your own family and you have your own family time set aside. This allows you and your husband to establish family traditions with your kids and make memories with them as a family. We picked Christmas Day. No visitors, no visiting, no exceptions. However, if half a day on Christmas Day is enough for your kids, then by all means, go see family in the late afternoon or evening, but you absolutely have to have your own family traditions. Your kids need this foundation in their lives. When we first got married, we did every other Thanksgiving, my family, his family, and then Christmas Eve with my family and Christmas Day with his family. Back then, that was fair. But you are trying too hard to make everything fair, and life is not fair, and that is not sustainable, especially once you have kids. Right now, the person was asking, like, aren't you tired? You're dealing with adults here, right? They can handle being told no. If they can't handle it, that's their problem, not yours. I've never counted which family got more time than the other family. You're overthinking this and you're going to stress yourself out. Bottom line, you and your husband come first, and what you want to do comes first. Once the kids come, you'll want them to enjoy the love of all their family members, and you'll do your best to make that happen. But you, your husband, and your kids will come first. So I thought that was really interesting, because I have dated people who hadn't had like strong family values. So it was like always really like, okay, we can go to my family house and don't worry about your family kind of thing. And I, like, you know, it's weird growing up with such a big family and always being with my family. It was like, when I find somebody that I truly want to be with, how am I going to deal with being away from my family? Right. But I love my husband's family and I really enjoy spending time with them. So yeah, we split. We do every other Christmas. And then Thanksgiving, we've kind of like faded away on Thanksgiving. Like, if it works out, that we'll see families. And they're like, one Thanksgiving, his parents, my parents, and my brother and I all met somewhere. This Thanksgiving, I'm going with my parents, or we're going with my parents and my brother to Vegas. I'm super looking forward to that. But yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like the response is very, I really like that response, especially being someone who's a people pleaser. Also, the guilt trips come from my side of the family if I'm not coming home for holidays. And I used to be the same way. Like, my brother would never come home for the holidays and still doesn't. And I would just be so mad and like guilt him, like, oh, you never come home and you never visit. And now, like, being a military spouse, like, we live thousands of miles away from our family and it doesn't always work out. And now I did apologize to my brother. I'm like, I'm sorry that I was so hard on you for never coming home and visit. Because one, it costs money to fly and, you know, time, and Ryan has to take leave. It's like, he doesn't get like paid time off. I mean, he gets paid for leave, but you only have so much leave that you can take. And so it's just all sorts of different factors that go into that. And so I'm more on the side that, yeah, you got to have those traditions and, I don't know, like, lay down the law of like what you're going to do. I don't know.
How has your family responded to that? Are they pretty understanding because of the military?
Yeah, they're pretty understanding. My sister is always like, why don't you come home? Like, just come home. And I'm like, okay, well, like, tickets are expensive and flying with a toddler is not, you know, easy. We do it, but they've been pretty understanding. I'm not sure how many Christmases we've missed. The first Christmas I ever missed, I was 23. No, I was 24. And I went with, Ryan went to Hawaii for work, and his family met in Hawaii, and I went also. And I was there for 2 weeks, and that was the first Christmas I ever missed. It was like really sad, but it also was like exciting because we were just dating at that point. So that it was exciting, but also it's like I almost miss Christmas because if you're in Hawaii for Christmas, it's not very Christmassy.
I've never done that, and I've always wondered how that would be. I don't think I've ever been away for Christmas like in a warm place. Phoenix. I lived in Phoenix, but it was different.
Right. Yeah, it was definitely odd. It just felt like I was on summer vacation. I'm like, when I got back, it's like, oh, we missed Christmas. So
yes.
It was very weird. When we lived in Maryland, my parents would expect us more to come visit because we were in driving distance, which again was fine because it was just the two of us. But now with Weston, I feel like it's a little harder. And
does Ryan get Christmas Day off?
It just depends. He's had to work Christmas. There's been times that one time in specific, and I can't like be too specific about it. However, he just said he had to go to work and he couldn't tell me why or where he was going. And all I will say was later on the news the next day, I'm like, oh, that's where you were. It's a military thing. And I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. It's like crazy like stuff that I could just never know. And I was mad at him. I was like, why didn't you just tell me to go home? Like, you could have been like, hey, I got to go to work, wink, and I'm not going to be back because we're traveling somewhere. And I was like, I could have just drove home. And he's like, yeah, I didn't think about that. So, I spent Christmas alone, which was kind of sad. My neighbor came over and we had leftovers, like, because we had, he came over the night before and he's an old guy. When I say he's like an old man, not just some random guy came over. Yeah, that would be awkward. But yeah, so we had a Christmas Eve dinner. And I will say when we were younger, I did felt like we were running around a lot. Christmas Eve was always with my dad's side of the family so we'd go to their house. And then we would spend like all morning at home, and we would, our tradition was we would always cook those orange rolls. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like the Pillsbury, they have the cinnamon rolls, but this one was the orange rolls. So
yes. I know what you're talking about. Okay, yes.
And we'd open presents, but then it was like, okay, now we got to get ready and go to grandma's. So we'd spend the rest of the day at her house. And so we really didn't get to enjoy our toys and stuff until like the day after.
Yeah.
But it wasn't too bad. I can't imagine though, of, kids or families that have divorced parents. Or could you imagine the husband and the wife, or the two spouses both had divorced parents?
Yeah. One of my cousins has I think it's 4 Christmases that she goes to every year. And she's like, it's just exhausting. And she has she had a baby in, I think it was March, April, something like that. So this will be their first Christmas. I'm interested to see what they do with having a kid now. Like that'll be different. Cause what is this, Weston's 3rd Christmas?
Yes.
Before he was one, and then yeah. So have you guys done anything tradition wise? This one will be his 3rd coming up, right?
Will it? No, I think it'll be his 2nd.
Because
he's born in March.
Oh, he's gonna only be
23. Yeah, he's one and a half.
I was like, okay.
I'm like, yes. Wait, no, that doesn't sound right.
Okay, so a 2nd. So did you do anything last year that you're like, oh, we want to do this as like a tradition, or not really?
Well, we did go to my parents' house, so we flew, and so we didn't really get to do that. And I think we both had COVID. We didn't test, but we were so sick, so it was just miserable to be sick at like. Even though it was my mom and dad's house, you still feel like you're a guest, and it's just you'd be more comfortable in your own home. So
totally.
But the same thing, we did New Year's Eve with my dad's side of the family, and then had our Christmas that morning, and then went to my grandparents. And then I think Wes and I got everyone else sick because everybody got sick after that. I'm like, I'm so sorry. Yeah. So that's what we did. This year, we're going to stay here.
Nice. Are you excited about that, or how do you feel about that?
Yeah, we're excited. We keep telling people to come to us, but it's hard. It's just as hard. But we do have the invitation open. Like, if you want to come, we'll be here. So we've extended it to like my brother and my sister and my mom and dad, and But the thing is my grandma's getting older, and
Mm-hmm.
my grandma loves Christmas, and so my mom's not gonna like miss
No,
Christmas with her,
I
which
get
I
it.
get. So, but
That's
yeah,
That's such an interesting one. So like I keep saying like I want to do traditions. I want to get something that they look forward to because my like kind of similar to yours, what we did was we would go to my mom's sibling, like her sister's house, and all of her siblings and all of their kids would come. So it was like always the best day of the year. Like Christmas Eve was my favorite day of the year because it was with all of my cousins. And then Christmas Day, like that's gonna sound bad, but it was kind of like a letdown because it would be my brother and I and my parents in the morning, and then we would go over to my grandparents, my mom's parents, because my dad's parents lived in Florida, so it wasn't like, and we never really got together with them around Christmas anyway. So it's like such a weird thing to think about. Like, okay, I really want our kids to have some kind of tradition, but I also want them to have cousin time. And the hard part is that my sister-in-law has 3 kids, so it's like it's a lot for 5 of them to fly to us, and then my husband's parents are in Michigan, close to them, like within 40 minutes. So it's like it's easier for us to go to them, so it's less of them having to do stuff, but
yeah,
it's also like, at what point do you start to say, you know what, it's going to be hard to travel with kids who really, we want to start our own thing and not have to travel to everybody. But it's different because like, like I said, my growing up where we would go was like 15 minutes from my house. Now it's like my parents live 2 hours away driving, and then my in-laws live a plane ride away. So I don't know. It's going to be very interesting to see how that develops, because right now it's like, it's getting harder because Hannah's starting to hear things at school like, oh, Santa Claus. And she's starting to like learn what these things are. And I'm like, oh boy, now we have to like figure out how to navigate that. And also like, I'm not really big on big gifts for the holidays, so it wouldn't be hard to bring those with, but then to travel with them to Michigan and then travel back. And yeah.
yeah, yeah. I was thinking like, how would that work if we go spend Christmas, whether it's with Ryan's parents, but usually I feel like they come to us. But
Oh, that's nice.
yeah, if we go to my parents, like I was like, please don't give us a lot of stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
my dad had to give me a whole extra bag. Luckily, if you're in the military and you're flying with your military like partner, they can check all the bags and you get your bags free. If I travel alone, I have
nice.
to pay.
Yeah.
So we just check that extra bag full of stuff that we got. But my mom did get him a cool little Santa Claus. His leg broke on the way back. I have to
Oh
move
no.
it back. It's so cute though. But yeah, it's so hard. I will say my cousin and her husband, they adopted 3 kids, and usually they would just come home for Christmas every year. And so they started saying no, like maybe every other year. Sometimes they come home if they know like Ryan and I are coming. They'll try to like make a trip down, but a lot of times they'll be like, they tell her mom and dad, you can come up, and they usually do just stay with them. Because it's hard they have 3 kids and 2 dogs and a cat. So like
it's a lot.
traveling with all their animals, yeah, they're like packed full. So I was like, no, I totally get that. And because you are starting your own family, and I've had to have that conversation with my sister too about she's wanting me to move back. And like, trust me, I would love to live close to them, but it's really kind of where Ryan gets a job after this. And it's like, but you need to be close to family. I'm like, you guys are my family and I love you, but also like Ryan and Weston are my family. Like we're our own little unit, and we have to do what's like best for our family. So it's kind of tough.
It's really hard. Like I like you said earlier, I definitely grew up with a lot of guilt. Like my mom was a big guilter, and so same with my grandma. My mom got it from her mom. Her mom always guilted her, and for the longest time, like I remember, just like you, I had one Christmas where I had to work. And I was like, it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. And I came home from work by myself to a house with nobody there. And I was so sad. And at the time I had 2 cats, and they like, I was like, I'm the cat lady. They sat on the couch next to me while I ate on like a dinner, like a TV tray. And I made like, instead of getting like a full you know, dinner, I like got one sweet potato, I got like one little chicken breast, and I was like, this is so depressing. I cannot believe I did this. But you're so right. Like now it's us, like it's our family unit. And I think the nice thing, but it's also hard for like my family is that because they're only a 2-hour drive away, like we could certainly make that happen, but it's a lot on us too, you know, and it's a lot on us, like, okay, schlep all of our stuff down to them and do that kind of thing. And we do have, like, Bryce and Michaela are a great community for us. And a lot of times they're here because her mom's here, her dad's here, you know, where we can be like, hey, you guys doing anything? Because we'll come stop by for the afternoon if you guys don't mind, you know, just to see somebody and to get out of the house and do something for the holidays. Like, I don't hate that very much, you know. It's nice.
Yeah, that is. I know I was asking Ryan, 'cause I was like, do you know anyone who's staying here for Thanksgiving? Like, we just need to do a Friendsgiving. Because he was like, what do you want to cook? And I was like, nothing. Like, I don't want to cook all the fixing. It takes all day, and it's just the two of us. And so it'd just be nice to, we do that too a lot of times for Thanksgiving. We've hosted it here, and it's just like a mix of people who don't have a place to go. Yeah. Even if we're here for Christmas, we invite people like that we know.
That's awesome.
Yeah. To come. And the military is pretty good about that. Like if you know people, if they're staying here, they'll try to like invite you in. People will make cookies for the people that are working the gates, and they'll bring them their leftover food. And so they always have like so much food too.
That's good.
So, yeah.
Those have been some of my best like holidays. You know, Thanksgiving was never like, I think the first year I moved to Phoenix, I got home for Thanksgiving and Christmas, but my grandpa was super sick. I hadn't intended on going back for Christmas, but my dad called and was like, you need to come. Like, but I, like, after that, like, I would only, you know, I didn't want to spend the money on 2 different flights back to Chicago, so I would only do one. And so you know, like Thanksgiving, you'd find who was around and who couldn't afford to go home. And like you said, like sometimes those are your best ones because they're unexpected. You don't know what's going to happen, and you miss your family, and you just make the best of the situation that you're in. And those have been some of my best holidays. You know, it's just like meeting new people or being with people you choose to sometimes too. You know, it's like, yeah. You know, you get your own community here. I haven't told Bryce and Michaela this, and this is not serious, but like we were talking the other day, like if we were to unexpectedly die or something, I would be like, sorry guys, you're raising my girls, because you guys would give them an incredible life. You guys are incredible non-parents parents.
That's funny you said that, because I literally said that. I saw them a couple weekends ago. Yeah. And you know, because, you know, they decided not to have kids. And I was like, so you don't want kids? And they're like, no. And I was like, but what if Ryan and I die? Where's Weston going to go? And then they're like, no, we'll take him out. I'm like, you're the best parents you're like the closest, you know, stable people in our family that we know. I'm not saying that no one else is stable. Right. They're like, they're married. Yeah. You know, they have, both of them have jobs. So it's just like, they're like, don't worry, we'll figure it out. And she did say that she would, you know, take Hannah and Aubrey too. So, you must have said that because she had mentioned like you guys. But hopefully that doesn't happen.
I know. You just never know, right? Like like my father-in-law lost both of his parents by the time he was 10, and he essentially was raised by his siblings, like on and off, like they were dealing with their own stuff. You know, they were not much older than him. It was really hard, but you know, you like don't ever want that to happen, but you also want them to have a normal life, right? Like we talked about that. Like my sister-in-law, I think, would definitely take in the girls, but then they would be 5 kids. They would have 5 kids. Like that's a lot to put on somebody, and to be able to, you know, move them all around and do that kind of thing. Like I know that Michaela would work on like traditions, and like she loves her traditions. Her mom was really big on traditions. And so, yeah, like I think that's the thing. Like I always wanted there to be one tradition, and I was like, we didn't do any traditions growing up, but like we literally went to the same place every Christmas Eve. So that's a tradition, you know? And I love that. And my mom would usually make crepes on Christmas morning. Like that was always a tradition. Yeah, right? Like I want to try
Yeah.
and figure that out before the girls get too old, and then I like pass the window of that. So one of my Reddit deep dives was like traditions you can start with your kids as they're young for like Christmas and stuff. I was like, like bookmark this, I'll come back to it and start to look at the
Yeah.
ones that I really want to do. So
Oh,
yeah.
that'd be good. Well, Ryan and I's tradition is it's before Christmas, so usually the day after Thanksgiving, we'll put up our tree and we start our Harry Potter marathon. So we'll incorporate that in, but right now Harry Potter is going to be a little scary for a toddler. But once he's able to like understand.
How long does it take you guys to get through it? Like, do you do it in like a week, or do you like try to pace yourselves on it?
Oh no, it's like once we start, it's like then the next day, and so we usually do it every day if we can.
Oh,
sometimes
that's cool.
we might skip a day if we're busy or we're tired, but yeah. But then I'm sad when it's over. I'm like, should we start it over?
Yeah, start it over again. Yes, that's a great one. I love the Harry Potter movies, and I haven't read them, and we've talked about that before. But like, that's a commitment, right, to read those.
Yeah.
But the movies are so good. But it's so funny. Like, I just do not, I don't know what my problem is. I don't retain plot lines. So like people will ask me about Harry Potter. And I'm like, I don't actually know like what happens in them. Like, I don't like, I've watched each of them a million times, and not a million, but like enough times I should know what's going on, and I don't know what's going on. So I don't know anybody's names, and but such great movies.
Right, they are. I will say the last time we watched it last year, because I had finished reading all the books. I was like, well, this happens, and this actually happens in this movie, and they forgot like this character. Like Peeves is a ghost in the book, and he's like a troublemaker. He's nowhere. Like I think they mention him once.
Yeah,
but like it's out of context. I don't know. If you didn't read the books, you're like, who's Peeves? Yeah, they have a whole, like Hermione's trying to do a whole elf movement, like elf rights, because and they don't actually want her help, and she's all like making them little hats and
oh my god,
like badges, and so there's a whole, I don't know. So if they redo these on HBO, I really do hope they take the time. It's not going to ever be the same as the original ones.
Yeah,
but I hope they take the time to kind of like deep dive into the story. So I think each year is supposed to be just the book. So hopefully they can capture that. Also, fun fact, I read that Malfoy, what's his name? Tom Felton? I don't know. So the guy who plays Malfoy, he's going to come back and play Lucius Malfoy. So
really?
Dad. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. That is cool. Oh man. So, that's a good tradition though. Like I like that. And that will be a fun one when he gets older and you're able to watch it with him. And I know I had a girlfriend that was like obsessed with Harry Potter, and she just wanted her daughter to be so into Harry Potter. And she was like, my older daughter is not into it, and I'm hoping the younger one gets into it so I have somebody to watch it with. So I
try to get my sister into it.
No.
And I was talking to a girl the other day, and I was talking about Harry Potter, and she's like, yeah, I'm not really into Harry Potter. And I was like, how old are you? And I was like, oh, that's right. You're the same age as my sister. So that makes sense. So around the 25-year-old like age, I don't think it's like cool because it was before their time and they weren't into it. But however, this younger generation, because of like us like millennials, are like pushing on their kids. So now they're loving Harry Potter. So that's cool.
That's my hope for Twilight. My girls will love Twilight.
Man, if we live closer, I feel like we should just have a Twilight marathon and we could just drink wine for every time Kristen Stewart says something stupid. No, we would be drunk.
We would be way drunk. We would be way too drunk. So drunk. But it would be fun.
Yeah. I really did like Twilight. I know I give it a hard time. I did enjoy the movies and stuff.
I still love it.
I love the books were really good.
Oh yeah, the books were so good. And it's sometimes when I'm just in the mood to watch them. Like I just watch them if I have time alone, which it doesn't happen anymore, but it did once upon a time. Yeah. I did watch it. So yeah. So, well, I mean, I think to circle back to the topic, I think it's a it's going to be interesting to see how we handle it going forward, you know, because I do think the guilt is a big thing for me. Like, I know my mom last year was like, it's our year. And I'm like, listen, lady,
man.
like, this is not, I'm not playing this game. And if I say that we're, you know, doing our thing, we're going to do our thing. So luckily, I think last year Aubrey was just she was just like a month and a half, not even quite, about a month and a half. And so we were like, all right, we're staying here. We're doing our own thing. And that was nice. It was really nice. I think my parents ended up coming up. My parents and my brother, maybe. I don't remember. Isn't that sad? That's like so sad. I don't even remember last Christmas already.
Sometimes I can't remember what I did yesterday. So
okay. I know. So true. Yeah, I'm excited. We're going to do a Friendsgiving in the woods in a couple of weeks. So that should be fun. I've always wanted to do that. Of course, it's probably going to be like 20 degrees and we won't end up doing it, but I'm hopeful.
Yeah. Oh, that's going to be cool. My mind went straight to Pinterest.
Oh, I know.
Like a Pinterest board. I don't know, just a big long table.
The table
like
in the woods.
On the ground.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes. I
chandelier from the tree.
Yes. Yeah. I'm already like, all right, who has an 8-foot table we can borrow? And I'll find a tablecloth.
Yeah. That's very like romantic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm excited to see how it ends up going.
Yeah. Hopefully it's not windy. If it wouldn't happen here, like your stuff will blow away.
Oh, I know. It's been windy here. It's been the last 2 days have been really chilly. We woke up this morning to snow on the ground, which nobody expected. So it's crazy.
Yeah, we had snow too. And then it melted.
Did you?
Weston didn't like the snow. He was like walking through it and it was stuck. He doesn't like anything stuck to his feet. So the snow is stuck to his boots. And it he did not like it. So he doesn't like the beach for that reason.
Oh, poor guy.
Yeah. Oh, and he just got over croup. This is the first time he had croup. So yeah. But he's feeling better. But now he's kind of getting a runny nose. He's not coughing as much, but so.
It feels like everybody's getting something right now. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's so crazy. Yeah. All right. Well, I would say please comment. Let us know what you do for the holidays, what people do for the holidays, you know, how you decide on what you're going to do. And if you have any cool traditions, you know, let us know. I'd love to do that. Last year I did hand and footprints for both the girls. I didn't do it for Hannah's first year, but her school did a handprint. So I have that. So I'm like, maybe I should do that. But you know, like they're going to be 14 and the thing's going to be like ginormous, you know? So I originally was going to make them an ornament, but I think that will make my tree fall down. So.
Well, okay. One more thing. You reminded me. So Ryan's parents did an ornament every single year and they date it. And then when he bought his house and had his first Christmas tree, they sent him all of his ornaments from when he was born. So I guess that's another tradition that we'll do. So we usually get one as a family and then we'll get one for Weston. Nice. And the same thing. So also my mom likes to decorate the tree. It would also be something that you would find off Pinterest. Mm-hmm. So it looks very got the ribbons and the balls and
love it.
And so that's how I thought you should decorate a tree. And Ryan's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "We're not putting these little things that you have on the tree." But now I love it. I love our tradition. So we get one every single year and we hang it up. And so pretty soon it'll be full. Maybe by that time we'll have to do 2 trees. I'm not there yet. The 2 trees.
I keep asking Brandon if I can put my tree up, and he's like, "No, not until after Thanksgiving." I'm like, "But it's such a short time, then, you know. I'm ready now." We've been listening to Christmas music. Hannah keeps asking for Jingle Bells. I'm like, "Yeah, girl, I'm in." Yeah, I will listen to all the Christmas music.
I know. I love some Frank Sinatra Christmas or Bing Crosby. Is that how you said?
Yes, Bing Crosby for sure. Yep.
Yeah,
I'm with you on that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. My favorite.
Yeah. Yes. Cool. Well, we will see you all next week. Have a good week.
Bye. And that wraps up another episode of Mom Jeans, trying to fit into motherhood. Thank you again so much for listening to us. And if you enjoyed this podcast, please consider giving us 5 stars so other mothers out there like you can find us and listen. If you would like, you could follow us on any of our socials at Mom Jeans the Podcast. If you have questions, would like to send us your birth story, or give us suggestions or things that you would like to hear, please email us at hello@momjeansthepodcast.com. See you next week.